Hey, we're gathered here outside the world-famous Rock Store for our no-shift shootout. What does it take to qualify for the no-shift shootout? You got to show up without a clutch lever. So we've gathered 3 bikes here that qualify. We've got the Aprilia 850 GT. We've got the BMW C600 Sport and the Honda NC700X DCT. I can hear some of you purists out there thinking, why on earth would anybody ride a motorcycle without a clutch? Well, the simple answer is ease of use. There are lots of people out there who have driven nothing but automatic transmissions, and the thought of learning how to master a manual transmission at the same time they learn how to ride a motorcycle is kind of intimidating. So these bikes make it a little easier for you to get into the sport of motorcycling.
Yeah, that's right, Evan. So we got the BMW, which has your typical CVT transmission that you see on many other scooters. You just twist the throttle and you take off and the bike will take care of the rest for you. The different drive ratios are all out of your mind. Don't worry about them. All you got to do is focus on the road ahead. With the Aprilia, you also have a CVT transmission that does similar things. You can twist and go, but it can also give you the option of shifting electronically between 7 different ratios if you'd like, all with the push of a button. So the Honda has a dual clutch transmission, which you might have heard of before on some high-end sports cars when you hear of like paddle shifters and things like that. The Honda here has actual gears in the transmission, and you can just press a button up or down and you can shift either way. You can also put it in full automatic mode. There's 2 of them, drive and sport, and then like these other 2, the Aprilia and the BMW, you can just twist and go and the bike will take care of the whole thing for you.
Ease of use comes in more than one form. It's not just about an automatic transmission. Each of these 3 bikes has ample storage area where you can carry extra gear, like your lunch or a backpack or something like that. So what these bikes are about is enticing people who might not have been regular riders. Today we invited our friend Joe Magro to ride with us. He's a re-entry rider, a motorcyclist a few years ago, but hasn't been on a bike in a while, and we wanted to get his feedback for how these bikes perform for someone who's getting started in the sport again.
After not riding for a few years and being on a bike and owning a bike in the past, I found it very easy to get up to speed riding without a clutch. It made me focus on the road much better and concentrate on actually riding the bike rather than having to get familiar again with using the clutch.
We've still got lots of riding to do to finish testing these bikes to see which one is the best in our no-shift shootout. So let's gear up and get out on the road. All right, well, we just spent several hours out on as many different kinds of roads as we could find. We had city streets, downtown streets, freeways, canyons. We've done it all. Some things that most users might not do on these bikes, but we wanted to see everything that we're capable of. Originally, we had it as a 2-bike comparison between the Aprilia and the Honda. But the BMW in our Uber scooter shootout was so nice that we thought, maybe we can bring it along on this and see how it compares. Any criticism we might have of the bike is more geared towards the difference between a scooter and a full-size motorcycle, because everything that we loved about the C650 I think pretty much applies to the C600. After our day on the road, I think we have pretty much come to a consensus about where these bikes excel and what issues they have. The 2 CVTs ride in the way you would expect a scooter to do. You roll on the throttle. It controls everything seamlessly. There's not a transition from gear to gear like you would get with a traditional gearbox. When we were riding with the Mana, we found that putting it in the sport mode, particularly around town, gave you more performance, but when you rolled on the throttle, it ramped up the RPMs and got into sort of an uncomfortable vibration range and just held it there because that's where the engine was most responsive. And so I think we had some issues with the way it was behaving.
Yeah, and the weird thing, especially with the Mana, is when you get it high up in the revs, the busyness comes from the foot pegs, not necessarily from the bars, which normally you expect your hands to be kind of vibrating a bit, but it comes up through your feet and kind of up through your legs, and it kind of jars your whole body, which is a weird thing we noticed. So we put it in touring mode, and it kind of helps cure that vibration a little bit. But then you kind of suffer in the performance aspect because the power delivery is a lot tamer than you would get in sport. And with the biggest engine here, you expect to get more power when you ask for it. The CVT in the Mana works like a scooter, which is fine for me if I'm on a scooter. So which is why I didn't mind it so much on the BMW, but on the Aprilia, I was kind of left lacking a bit.
Like the Aprilia, the Honda has two modes that you would use in everyday riding. The first one is the drive mode. That is geared more towards very soft power delivery and maximum fuel economy. So you'd be surprised to look down and see it indicating 5th or 6th gear when you're only going about 40 miles an hour. But you roll on the throttle, and after a brief pause as it downshifts, you can accelerate. The sport mode keeps the RPMs a little higher and makes the engine much snappier when it's, for that form of automatic transmission. Another thing that sets the Honda apart is the ability, whether you're in drive or sport mode, to be able to manually upshift or downshift with the paddles. Say you're going to pass someone and you're in sport mode. You bang a quick downshift, roll on the throttle, pass the car, and then just go back to your riding, and the automatic transmission will take over shortly thereafter. And that seems to be a good compromise of ease of use and giving you ultimate control over it when you want it.
So from a handling standpoint, I like the fact that the Honda has the widest bars here, which really give good leverage when you're turning to and fro. The Aprilia, you would think, would handle really well, and it does, but the narrower bars require just a touch more effort to go from side to side. Then you have the BMW, which is a complete different animal altogether. You're sitting differently. The handling is very different. It's clumsy, if you would put it that way, because it's not meant to be going through corners like these two other bikes. It's a scooter. That's kind of what it's meant to do, is be practical, comfortable, easy transportation. You can haul a bunch of stuff in it and just hop on. Heated grips, heated seat. These two other bikes don't have that. Tall windscreen really comes in handy.
Well, it's kind of like bringing a knife to a gunfight.
True, but the Beamer can fit the most knives if you go to a gunfight.
True.
So you've got that going for you.
I think it's pretty much universally agreed that the Honda, because of its low price and its flexible transmission and its nice handling, pretty much has the complete package of our no-shift Shootout.
So after riding all three bikes in all kinds of riding situations, I definitely felt the most comfortable on the Honda. The Honda was definitely more of a full motorcycle riding experience. Especially after using the paddle shifters, it was a great experience. The only negative thing I could think while riding all three of these bikes is, after a year of maybe owning one of these, would I get bored? Would I actually miss the clutch and want to actually go out and purchase a bike with a proper clutch?
Yeah, for me, I think the Honda is my winner too. When you factor in the price, it's amazing what they can do with such a price point. I could put taller screen and some bags on that Honda and go for a super long ride and ultimate comfort. Between this bunch, I can't see how I could pick anything else.